Most car owners believe they're doing everything right, changing the oil on time, checking tire pressure now and then, maybe even giving the car a good wash on weekends. But what if I told you that's barely scratching the surface? Hidden inside every vehicle are tiny details, overlooked parts, and low-cost habits that could mean the difference between an engine that dies at 150,000 miles and one that keeps going strong past 500,000. And here's the part no one talks about. Your mechanic knows these tricks. In fact, they use them on their own cars. But when it comes to yours, they'll let you keep making the same mistakes, because every skipped step, every neglected part, every harmless delay quietly stacks up into expensive problems and big paydays for them. Some of these secrets cost less than a cup of coffee, yet can save you thousands in repairs. Others take just 5 minutes of your time, but prevent breakdowns that would otherwise leave you stranded on the side of the road. We're talking about the invisible villains that drain your car's health without warning, the hidden weak spots you've never checked, and the clever hacks that make your car run smoother, quieter, and far longer than you ever thought possible. Once you know them, you'll never look at your car the same way again, and you'll wonder why no one told you sooner. So buckle up, because we're about to expose 17 car maintenance secrets mechanics don't want you to know, and the first one could be quietly killing your engine right now. It's one of the cheapest parts in your entire car, usually less than the cost of lunch, yet it has the power to make or break your engine's future. Most people never think about their radiator cap. They check the coolant level, maybe top it off, and assume they're safe. But over time, that small cap loses its ability to hold proper pressure. And when that happens, coolant starts evaporating faster than you realize, slowly starving your engine of the very fluid that keeps it from overheating. Mechanics know this. They also know that replacing a radiator cap every 5 years can drastically reduce your risk of blown head gaskets, warped cylinder heads, or even complete engine failure. But here's the thing. They're not going to suggest it unless you ask. Why? Because overheated engines mean big repair bills, and that's money in their pocket. Think of it like this. Would you rather spend $10 today or thousands on an engine rebuild later? The choice sounds obvious, but most drivers never even hear about it until it's too late. And while you're checking under the hood, there's another tiny, hidden spot on your car that could be costing you comfort every single day. Most drivers think of comfort as a luxury, something that comes from expensive upgrades, better seats, or fancy sound systems. But here's the secret. A huge part of how new your car feels comes from something you probably ignore every single day, the humble rubber door seal. Every time you open your door, you see it. That strip of soft rubber running around the frame is more important than it looks. It's not just keeping rainwater out. It's blocking road noise, stopping dust from creeping in, and keeping your air conditioning or heating from working overtime. But like anything made of rubber, it slowly breaks down. Dirt and tiny grit particles stick to it. Heat from the sun dries it out. In winter, cold weather makes it crack, and all that wear and tear leads to tiny gaps you might not notice until you realize your cabin is louder, your fuel economy is worse, and your ride just doesn't feel as tight as it used to. Here's the part mechanics don't tell you. Restoring those seals costs almost nothing. A simple clean with mild soap and warm water every few months removes the grit that's grinding away at the rubber. Follow it with a quick rub of silicone spray or a rubber conditioner, and you bring those seals back to life. Not only will your doors close with that satisfying new car thud, but you'll block more outside noise, improve insulation, and make your HVAC system's job way easier, which means less strain and better fuel economy. It's such a small fix that shops rarely mention it. There's no big profit in selling you a $5 bottle of silicone spray when they can wait until your seals are ruined and sell you an expensive replacement instead. But the truth is, just 5 minutes of care every few months can make your car feel like it aged backward. And while fresh door seals can transform your comfort on the road, the next secret can transform your engine's future, because it's the most underestimated, underappreciated habit that keeps cars alive far beyond what most owners ever expect. Ask most car owners about oil changes, and they'll give you the same answer. Every 3,000 miles, right? That's been drilled into drivers for decades, and it's one of the most profitable myths in the auto industry. The truth, for modern cars, the real danger isn't in changing too often. It's in not changing the oil well enough, or worse, not checking it at all between changes. Here's what your mechanic might not emphasize. Oil isn't just lubrication. It's your engine's blood supply, carrying away heat, sealing gaps, and trapping microscopic bits of metal and dirt that grind your engine from the inside. Over time, that oil breaks down. Heat, moisture, and fuel contamination all chip away at its ability to protect your car. And when the oil loses its protective properties, every mile you drive is like running a marathon in worn-out shoes. Damage starts small, barely noticeable, but it's permanent. Modern synthetic oils can easily last 5,000 to 7,000 miles under normal driving, sometimes more. But here's the catch. That's only if your oil level stays where it should. Engines naturally burn small amounts of oil, especially as they age, and if you're not checking between changes, you could be running low without realizing it. That low level means what's left is working twice as hard, overheating, thinning out, and leaving metal parts exposed. Mechanics know that many engines die not because of dirty oil, but because of too little oil. And a blown engine from oil starvation can cost you thousands, while checking your dipstick takes less than 2 minutes and costs nothing. The smarter move? Check your oil at least once a month. Top it up if it's low, and change it based on your manufacturer's recommendation and your driving style. Highway miles, short trips, heavy towing, all of it changes how fast your oil breaks down. Skip this, and you're basically handing your mechanic an engine rebuild job in a few years. And if you think fresh oil is the whole story, you're in for a surprise, because the next secret involves replacing fluids you've probably never thought about, but neglecting them can lead to repairs so expensive they make oil changes look like pocket change. Most people think of oil changes as the only real fluid maintenance a car needs, but your car is full of other liquids, each one with a critical job, and if you ignore them, they'll quietly wear your car down until something expensive breaks. When you buy a used car, the first thing most owners do is check the mileage, glance at the tires, maybe listen for any strange noises. But here's the insider tip mechanics swear by. Forget all that for a moment and start with every single fluid. That means your coolant, brake fluid, transmission fluid, power steering fluid, and even the fluid inside your differential. Why? Because you have no idea how long they've been in there, or what kind of abuse they've taken. Coolant, for example, doesn't just keep your engine from overheating. It also protects the inside of your engine and radiator from corrosion. Let it get old, and it turns acidic, eating away at expensive metal parts from the inside. Brake fluid absorbs moisture over time, which lowers its boiling point and makes your brakes fade when you need them most. Transmission fluid, that's the lifeblood of your gearbox, and if it's old or contaminated, every shift grinds down your transmission just a little more until one day it fails completely, and you're looking at a $3,000 to $5,000 repair. Here's the real reason this tip stays under the radar. Most of these fluids are out of sight, out of mind. You don't see them leaking, so you assume they're fine. But replacing them early, especially right after buying a used car, resets your vehicle's maintenance clock. It's like starting with a clean slate, eliminating years of hidden where you inherited from the last owner. And while you're at it, don't overlook your battery and air filter. A fresh battery ensures your electronics and starter get full power, and a clean air filter lets your engine breathe properly, improving fuel economy, performance, and longevity. None of these things cost a fortune, but the difference they make is massive. This is the kind of preventative care mechanics do on their own cars, because they know the damage of skipping it, but they rarely recommend it unless you ask, because waiting for something to fail means a much bigger job for them later. And speaking of failures waiting to happen, the next secret is about a part you do see every time you open your trunk. Yet most people don't realize it's one of the most common ways to get stranded in the middle of nowhere. It's one of those things you only think about when you're in trouble, and by then, it's already too late. Your spare tire sits quietly in your trunk or under your car, out of sight and out of mind. You might have never touched it since the day you bought the car. But here's the harsh truth. If you don't check it regularly, there's a very good chance it won't save you when you need it most. Over time, even a tire that never hits the road will slowly lose air. Tiny leaks at the valve stem, natural rubber seepage, or changes in temperature can drop its pressure without you ever knowing. Then one day, you hit a nail or a pothole, pull over to swap the tire, and find out your emergency backup is just as flat as the one you're replacing. At that point, you're not just dealing with an inconvenience. You're calling a tow truck, waiting on the roadside, and paying for a repair that could have been avoided with a 60-second check. Mechanics know this happens all the time. In fact, it's a common upsell opportunity. Drivers come in for a tire repair and end up paying for roadside service or a new spare. But the fix is so simple you can do it yourself for free. Every few months, or at least when you check your regular tire pressures, pop the trunk and check the spare with a gauge. Inflate it to the recommended PSI, and while you're at it, make sure you have the right jack and tools ready to go. You'd be surprised how many drivers discover they're missing the one tool they'd need in an emergency. And here's a pro tip. If your car has a full-size spare, rotate it into your regular tire rotation schedule. That way, you keep it fresh, and it wears evenly with the others. If it's a smaller donut spare, remember they're designed for temporary use only, usually no more than 50 miles at low speeds. So don't push your luck. It's a tiny piece of insurance that costs nothing, but could save you hours of frustration. And while a flat spare is annoying, the next secret is far more dangerous, because it hides under your hood, quietly corroding away until one day, your car simply refuses to start. You turn the key, nothing. No click, no crank, just silence. For most drivers, that moment feels like a total surprise. But in reality, your battery has been warning you for months. The problem? You weren't looking in the right place. Pop the hood and take a close look at your battery terminals, the metal posts where the cables attach. If you see a white, blue, or green crusty buildup, that's corrosion, and it's slowly choking off the flow of electricity between your battery and your car. It's like having a perfectly good heart, but clogged arteries. Your starter motor, lights, and electronics all rely on that clean connection. Let corrosion build up, and your battery has to work harder just to do basic tasks, draining it faster and shortening its lifespan. Here's the part mechanics love. When that corrosion finally causes a no-start situation, most people assume the battery is dead and buy a new one, often for over $150. In reality, the battery might be fine. It's the connection that's failing. Cleaning those terminals yourself takes less than 10 minutes, costs almost nothing, and can extend your battery's life by years. All you need is a wire brush or even an old toothbrush, plus a simple baking soda and water mixture to neutralize the acid. Disconnect the cables, negative first, scrub away the buildup, rinse, dry, and reconnect, positive first this time. A quick layer of petroleum jelly or battery terminal spray can keep corrosion from coming back. The difference is immediate. Your car starts faster, your electronics run smoother, and your battery doesn't have to fight for every volt. Mechanics know this because it's one of the first things they check when a dead battery rolls in. If the terminals are dirty, they can clean it in minutes and sell you a new battery anyway, because you wouldn't know the difference. And while clean battery terminals can save your car from a no-start disaster, the next secret is about something even more overlooked, a small, cheap part that directly affects your comfort, your air quality, and even your ability to see clearly in bad weather. It's not flashy, it's not expensive, but it's the difference between a car that feels fresh and safe and one that feels stuffy, smells old, and leaves you struggling to see in bad weather. I'm talking about two things most drivers forget until they're already causing problems: the cabin air filter and your windshield wipers. Let's start with the cabin air filter. Hidden behind your glove box or tucked deep in your dash, it quietly cleans every bit of air that enters your car's interior. Over time, it fills up with dust, pollen, leaves, and even mold spores. Once it clogs, your HVAC system has to work harder, your defrost takes longer, and every time you turn on the air, you could be breathing in whatever's been trapped inside for months or years. Mechanics love replacing these because they can charge $40 to $80 for a job you can do yourself in under 5 minutes with a $10 filter. Then there's your wiper blades. You don't think about them until it rains, and by then, it's too late. Worn-out wipers leave streaks, chatter across the glass, and can completely ruin your visibility during a storm. That's not just annoying, it's dangerous. And yet, most drivers wait until they're barely working before replacing them, which often means buying overpriced blades from a shop while you're already there for something else. Here's the mechanic's secret. Both of these parts are ridiculously easy to swap yourself. Your owner's manual shows you exactly how. Keep a spare set of blades in your trunk and change your cabin filter at least once a year, or more if you drive in dusty areas. The payoff is instant. Clear vision, cleaner air, and a car that feels newer for pennies on the dollar. And while these two parts protect your comfort and safety, the next secret protects something far more expensive, because it's all about your suspension and tires, and how a simple, low-cost habit can prevent you from throwing away hundreds, even thousands, on avoidable wear and tear. Most drivers don't think twice about their tires until they go flat or fail inspection. But your tires, and the suspension components they work with, are some of the most expensive wear items on your car. Ignore them, and you're not just burning through rubber faster, you're also damaging the parts that keep your ride smooth and safe. Here's the thing. Tires don't all wear at the same rate. The ones on your driven wheels Front tires on most cars, rear tires on performance or A models take the brunt of the work. They steer, they grip during acceleration, they take the full force of braking. Over thousands of miles, they'll wear down far faster than the others. If you never rotate them, you'll end up replacing 2 tires long before you should, and the uneven wear can throw off your alignment, which then starts chewing up suspension parts like shocks, struts, and ball joints. That's how a $60 rotation you skip turns into a $1,000 repair bill. Rotating your tires every 5,000 to 7,000 miles spreads the wear evenly, making all 4 last longer. Mechanics know this, of course, but here's the part they don't rush to tell you. If they can sell you new tires twice as often, that's more money in their pocket. Many shops will even check your tires during service without mentioning they could be rotated, because replacing is far more profitable than maintaining. While you're at it, have your suspension inspected. Worn shocks and struts don't just make the ride bouncy. They can cause your tires to lose contact with the road over bumps, increasing braking distance and reducing control. Replace them when needed, and your tires will thank you by lasting longer and gripping better. Think of it like getting a dental cleaning. You're preventing small problems before they turn into expensive ones. And when you combine all these hidden habits, radiator cap swaps, fluid changes, seal care, spare checks, battery cleaning, filter and wiper swaps, and tire rotations, you end up with a car that runs longer, costs less to maintain, and stays out of the mechanic shop for years at a time. But before we wrap up, let's put all these secrets together into one final thought, because once you understand how small, inexpensive habits can transform your car's lifespan, you'll never see maintenance the same way again. Most people see car maintenance as a chore, something you only deal with when a warning light comes on or when it's time for the annual inspection. But now you know the truth. The real game isn't about fixing problems. It's about never letting them happen in the first place. 17 secrets, each one small, cheap, and easy enough for anyone to do. A $10 radiator cap that prevents a $3,000 engine rebuild. A quick door seal cleaning that keeps your ride quiet and your fuel bill lower. A spare tire check that turns a potential roadside nightmare into a 5-minute swap. Even a simple battery scrub that saves you from replacing something that was never broken in the first place. This is why mechanics rarely hand out this advice for free, because every habit you adopt is one less big repair they get to bill you for. And that's the real power here. You're not just protecting your car, you're taking back control of your wallet. So here's your challenge. Pick one of these habits and do it today, then another next week. Before you know it, you'll have built a maintenance routine that quietly saves you thousands, keeps your car running for years longer than most people expect, and spares you the stress of breakdowns at the worst possible moment. Because in the end, car ownership isn't about luck. It's about knowing the tricks, staying ahead of the problems, and never letting the people who profit from your ignorance win again.